passion igniting the light through highs and lows. We'll stand as one, a legacy, a tale that's just begun. Together we roar, together we roar. Detroit Lions will rise, with a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our road. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. So let's lift our voices, let's turn it up loud. For the love of the Lions, we'll always be proud.
What up, what up, what up? It is Tuesday night. My goodness, people, we are 12, count them, 12 hours away from training camp for these rookies. Woo, doggy. Football is back. Almost. I mean, it's training camp. It's still preseason, but I swear to goodness, we're going to blink, and it is going to be preseason game 1, and we're going to blink again, and it's going to be Lambeau. And the season's going to get kicked off. But I'm a little worried, man. We got a big dilemma on our hands. The Lions do, at least, I should say. I mean, as fans, obviously, we're a little bit worried. But I'm a little less worried tonight than I was earlier today, and also from yesterday. I was quite worried. Brad's cooking right now. Brad is cooking. That contract is coming. But no one's done anything yet. None of the other, let me check something. Let me see if anything's happened. None of the other guys have been signed. I haven't updated in the last couple hours. Trey Harris is still holding out. That was as of 2 days ago. And, man, I don't see another update. And I'm not going to search for everybody. But I have not heard or read where any of these other 30 guys have signed. And so if you think about it, I mean, this is massive, right? These guys have finally kind of put their cleats in the dirt and said, look, we want guarantees. There's no reason why you can't guarantee our contracts. You know, I thought about it a little bit since this morning. I didn't have enough time to obviously go through and pull all the analytics and the data. But this is a simple math problem, I think, for the NFL. And I don't know if anyone's talked about this yet, but let's look at it this way. How many of the second round draft picks have gotten all their money anyway? Right? What is the percentage of second round draft picks that don't earn all of their contract? And doesn't it make sense to do it on a sliding scale? You know what I'm saying? I think that, okay, we'll guarantee year 1, 100%. We'll guarantee 90% of year 2, 75% of year 3, and 30% of year 4. And you put it on a de-escalation factor, if you will, where that number continues to drop, as that player ages, because things like injuries happen. But you know what? At least for the first year, we'll cover all of it. I think that's a simple math problem, and it's probably not that simple for the agents. It's probably not that simple for the teams, but I would look at how many of these second-round draft picks have earned all their money anyway. What is that percentage? If 90% of them are earning all their money through 4 years, then what's the big deal, right? I mean, what are you really going to miss out on over 4 years? Are you going to lose 10%? I would say that that's a pretty damn good win to loss ratio. If you're only losing 10% of your money, that's pretty solid in the NFL. It's pretty solid in any business. I mean, every business has breakage, right? Everybody has losses. So if you're only losing 10%, man, you're winning. Hell, 10% of product usually walks out of just about every business there is without getting paid for. So, hey, there's a new name in the house I haven't seen in here. Larry Williams, welcome in, man. How you doing? Cake Man 1218's in the house. Of course, we got the mod crew in. Brandy Coffee, Mike P. Trace, always leading us off. Trace is the leadoff hitter, man. It seems like she beats everybody into the chat. So I'm gonna put a competition out, man. Who's gonna be first tomorrow? You see, you never know when I'm dropping the thumbnail, and it usually goes out like 30 minutes before it's due to go live. It'll drop, right? But I put them out at all random times, partly because I'm so damn busy. I just don't schedule a whole week like I used to. Which maybe I'll start doing that once the season's around. But yeah, who's gonna be first tomorrow? Let's see if you guys can beat Trace. I don't think you can. I don't think anybody can beat Trace. Anyway, I hope you guys all got tickets today. If you didn't, I know a lot of us tried to, get as many as we could. And the good news is we do have, I don't know, at least 40 tickets that we should be able to give away. So, last year and the year before, we've given away at least 100. This year, it's a little bit different because they've changed up the rules, and I did not get donations yet, so I'm still waiting to see if I'm going to get some donations from, at least from some other, friends, but the Lions. I mean, I send them an email every year. Man, it is hotter than Dickens outside today. It's like 100 degrees over here. At least that's what it feels like outside. So anyway, tonight, man, the big dilemma for the Lions and for, really 29 other teams is Tate Ratledge going to be in the building tomorrow? Now, I did not get any real information today. I made a phone call to my guy, and he doesn't know anything. The only thing that he said, which this is not an exact quote, this is paraphrasing, is this is going to change the landscape of the NFL for the foreseeable future. This is that straw that has broken the camel's back. And thankfully, unthankfully, really, it's happening now because the Lions are, in such an issue anyway with so much change, so much adversity. But thankfully, if it happens now, they get it out of their system, and then next year, it'll be handled, right? They'll get ahead of it. So I don't think that the NFL is going to allow this to happen again. I think that they're going to be way ahead of it. It doesn't mean that the players won't hold out. It doesn't mean that players don't want change. I think they do every year. But this is different. This is much different. Tour says all guaranteed money must go into escrow at the time of signing. That is true. Sheila has money, but none of us know what stresses that's applying on negotiations. Dude, that is a phenomenal point. And I'm glad you brought this up because I would have forgotten about it. About 2 months ago, I did a show, or it was a video. I think it was the morning show. I think it was with Eric, that there was a new rule this year. And it was about guaranteed money that has to go to escrow, right? And now more of it has to go to escrow. So think about that for a moment. It's not this year's guaranteed money. It's all years on the contract for every player on your roster. So there's a number, and I'm not going to be able to pull it down right now, but there's a number that is attributed to every team. So you'll see where some teams spend like $600 million or $500 million in a year. And people look at that number sideways and they go, how can you spend $500 million if the cap's $279? Well, that $500 million includes all of the other guaranteed money and all of the contracts as a whole, right? And so all the guaranteed money that goes with those contracts must go to an escrow account. So that is, let's say if you have $500,000 in guaranteed money on your roster as it sits today, Sheila has to have an account with $500 million in it. Hopefully it's earning some interest, but that's where it's going. And so I think to your point, Auteur, dude, that's a good point, because not every team is flush with cash. Let's just be realistic for a moment. Yes, these are billionaires, some multi-billionaires, and there's a collection of billionaires that own, these franchises. And so the majority rules, right? They're the ones that have to be responsible for this big nut that they have to cover, which is the NFL salary cap. Yeah, they get a lot of money. I mean, I think Sheila, didn't the Lions last year get a check for, what was it? Was it 500 million, 536, 534 million that they got a check back for all of the TV rights? That's a big chunk of change. I mean, that covers everything. It covers just about all of your operating expenses for the team that year. Their salaries, which that's not covered by the team anyway, that's covered through the NFL and their salary cap that they allot to each team. But if you think about it, it covers just about everything, that franchise has to pay out. But not every team is flush with cash. That's a great point. That's a great point. So, what's this now? The Sauce deal happened. Aiden deal will be incoming soon. No, I don't believe any Aiden deal is going to be happening this year. I'm actually extraordinarily confident there's no Aiden deal this year. He's going to be playing on his salary this year, and he's got the 5th-year option picked up next year. I think that the Lions are going to hold firm on that. I don't see any deal happening. He hasn't even hit the field yet. He's got to hit the field. As I said earlier in the season or earlier in the offseason, if he's looking great in preseason, which is just preseason, is that a reason to pay him? I don't think so. I think that you're going to have to get into the season, and he's going to have to be playing great for multiple weeks on end before anything would happen. So I just don't see it happening this year. The Lions are so reluctant to doing deals during the season. They did it with Aleem McNeil, but that conversation started way earlier, like 9 months prior to him getting that deal. That conversation started, or 8 months, 7 months, somewhere in that range. In a nutshell, the conversation happened in the offseason of last season, and then it was completed, what was it, October of last year? Or I think it was October of last year is when that deal was completed. So I'm over here cranking my neck just to get to the microphone. I just need to move the mic. So anyway, I don't think that'll happen. I really don't. Let's see. Tour does think we'll see a midseason deal. I don't. Hassanin Mahdi's in the house. What's happening, man? Nick P is confident it's incoming. I don't think so. I think incoming next year, maybe. Maybe next year. Let's see. Nick P says, I know someone that has been in marketing with the organization. I heard the goal is to get Aiden done before the regular season. Look, a lot of people say a lot of things. If they were confident in getting Aiden a deal, I think it would have been done already. I think that the issue is you want to get the deal done because you don't want that big balloon potential if he has an amazing season. But I've gone back and forth in that gone back and forth with people on that too, that the ceiling is the ceiling right now and the floor is the floor for a defensive end. I think the floor is going to be $33 million for Aiden. I think the ceiling is $39,999,999. I don't think that he's going to get a bigger deal than Myles Garrett, and nor does he deserve one bigger than Myles Garrett. He doesn't deserve one bigger than Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson has been super consistent as well over the last few seasons, but that's a different kind of story because Trey's a little bit older, and Myles is a little bit older. But those are the two best guys in the league right now. Aiden's almost there, but I don't see him breaking 40. I would say 33 to 35 is where he'll be, which is still a great number. And that helps the Lions, but it's still a big nut to crack. Let's see, that's kind of where I'm at too, Cruisin. Cruisin says, how are you going to make a deal with Hutch if you're not certain or guaranteed that he's back and fully back, right? Fully back. So that's the deal. Yeah. Like Dave Burkett source, for example, said that Ragnar was holding out for money, and that turned out to be untrue. Yes. So even the insiders, man, they get stuff wrong for whatever reason. They're just trying to print stuff in the off season. I think Dave Burkett's a pretty good dude. I don't think he's a grimy. There's a couple of grimy ones out there. I don't think that he's one of them. I don't think that he probably meant to do anything. Maybe that was his source saying that. What did I say? When I jumped on the day that we heard this, the first thing, or prior to that, because that Sunday, I think I printed something. I didn't print it. I said it where Ragnar was going to be coming back. And it was literally like 2 days later he retired. But I said in that conversation, he wasn't holding out for money. My source said it wasn't money, but if it were to be money, what it would look like was X, Y, and Z. I don't know. You can go back and look at the receipts later. I don't think it was money for Ragnar. But before I get off track, I need to give big congratulations to somebody. I'm sure that you guys already saw the news. Let me pull this in for us. Huge congratulations, man. This is fun stuff. And I'm glad that it happened now. Where's my thingamajigger? Of course. Give me 1 sec. I just gotta make a quick adjustment. I don't know why that's doing that. That's just dumb. Let me just get rid of that. See you, bye. I'm trying to pull in an article. And it pulls in and then it disappears. I don't get it. It pulls in and it disappears. Okay, let's try a different one. This is just going to be a blank screen, so nothing fancy dancy on this one. My goodness. There we go. Be a lot easier to fix it. Shoot, by the time I get this up, this baby is going to be like 3 years old already. All right. Anyway, here we go. Big congratulations to Jared Goff, man. Firstborn baby. According to Corey Woods, news popped earlier today. This is about 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago. Jared Goff and his wife, Kristen, announced that the arrival of their daughter. Jared Goff being a girl's dad, or however you want to call it, that's fitting, right? That Jared has girls for kids. That's fitting. I just think that some guys are meant to have daughters, man. But anyway, daughter's name is Romy Isabel Goff. Romy Isabel Goff. I'm not so sure on the first name. That's too close to Rome for me. Too close to Rome. Not a big fan favorite of the Dallas Cowboys there. Romo, I'm sorry. Too close to Romo. But congratulations, man. It's incredible. Nothing better than being a brand new dad. That's as good as it gets right there on day one. That's as good as it gets. So let's scan the news, shall we? Just for a brief moment, and then I'm going to come back to this whole Tate Ratledge thing. Are you guys concerned about Tate not being in camp? Do you think he got enough snaps in the off season to miss a few days? Because these first few days are critical. Like, these are just the rookies getting an opportunity to get a lot of reps. And then when the vets get in, man, those reps start to get split up. And I feel like it's a big opportunity missed. It's a huge opportunity for Tate Ratledge to either cement the fact that he can be a center in this league, or he's just going to be a guard this year, which I think he's probably going to be a guard anyway. I think that Graham Glasgow is going to be our center, and I think that Tate's going to be the right guard where he's been playing. I think that makes the most sense. I am a little bit concerned that, he's coming into the NFL and he's going to miss some days. At least right now, he's going to miss tomorrow. I think if I understood it correctly, the deal had to be signed before 5 p.m. today for him to be able to make camp tomorrow. So I think that he is definitely a holdout for tomorrow. And I think that's primarily because it has to go to the NFL, right? When the contract is signed, it has to go to the league office, has to be reviewed, approved, and then he's good to go. So if I understood it correct, I could be wrong on that point, but if I understood it correct, that deal had to be in place before 5 p.m. today, Eastern time. U of M Dad says, who's the next man up? I mean, it's all of them, honestly. I mean, you still have Giovanni Manu, who's been working at left tackle and left guard. You have Christian Mahogany, who's been working at left guard. And I think Graham Glasgow is the center, no matter what. I mean, this is just going to give Miles Frazier and Christian Mahogany both an opportunity to take some snaps at center. I have a feeling that both of them would anyway. I think everybody's going to get an opportunity, in the interior of this offensive line to get some snaps at center. I mean, the guys have to be comfortable with it in case of injury, right? You have to have a backup and a backup for your backup. So if it's not Graham and it's Tate, well, now Graham's going to get the brunt of the work, but Graham's not going to be there tomorrow. So it's going to be Miles and it's going to be Mahogany tomorrow, which means I assume Manu will be there. I think Manu's going to be there tomorrow. I would assume that he is anyway. He'll get some extra work. So Hassanin Mahdi says it's not fair to play without getting paid. Yeah, I'd say that's part of it. His opinion is my opinion to be fair for the players and the owners and the agent for their second round draft to adding on the contract percentage guarantee. And if there are injury, it goes with the percentage of how many games. So if I understand what you're saying there, it's the percentage or a scale where it's guaranteed, but if there's injury, then they don't get paid for the games that they're injured, because there's always an injury clause, and I think their contract is guaranteed for injury. So I'm not sure how that part would work. I don't think it would work that way. If I understand what you're saying, if I understand what your statement is or your opinion is, what I would say is just guarantee it based on a percentage anyway. Just don't do 100%, but guarantee a heck of a lot more than 0%, right? Yeah, prorated amount. Trace, that's a good point. DC always says the guys have to fight for their spot. It's never a given. Nick P says, honestly, I think the Lions are more comfortable with Graham at right guard. He wasn't good at center with Denver, was a good right guard in 23. So, Nick, I don't know who said that before, but yeah, we got Tristan Colon too. So someone else said something similar to that, and I went through and looked at all the stats and posted all the stats. Graham has the most snaps in his career at center. And he was actually a pretty decent center at times. So I'm more comfortable in the NFL having a guy that has the most snaps of his career at center. Because putting a rookie in that position, which is one of the hardest positions in the NFL, is center. I think that you're asking for more trouble. You still need to block, right? You still need to understand pass pro, but there's way more to it. Understanding the defense and all the defense calls, all the shifts and slides, and golf calls a lot of that too. All the protections they've got to call out. I mean, there's a lot more than I'll ever know or ever, understand. But the Cliff Notes version on being a center in the NFL is it's extremely hard. It's going from algebra to calculus. And I would be more comfortable with a guy like Graham that has all of that experience, all that muscle memory. He may not be the most fit guy in the world. He may not be the fastest guy in the world. But when Graham did fill in for us, one game was good, one game was bad back in 2023. Last year at left guard, he was a fish out of water. And I don't know if that is to blame Taylor Decker. Were they having communication issues? Or was he just having a bad year? At right guard, he was amazing. At left guard, not so great. And I wouldn't put Tate at left guard. The one thing that I've heard from Jim Miller and Pat Kerwan, which those two guys, I mean, those are two of the most well-versed guys in the NFL, speaking on the NFL, GM in the NFL, quarterback in the NFL, 20 years on Sirius XM radio. Whatever a guy is doing when you're scouting him, and if that's why you're going to hire him, right? You're going to draft this guy. That's the position he needs to play. Flat out. That's where he needs to be. Doesn't mean that you can't cross-train. It doesn't mean that you can't, give him some experience at doing some other things. But you literally drafted the guy to be a right guard. Why make him a left guard? I get it. In a pinch, you do what you got to do. But if he's really good at a right guard, leave him at right guard. Now, on the flip side of that, sometimes, college tackles, they just don't meet the size criteria. They don't have the arm length. They don't have the height. They don't have the weight. And they just make better guards because of it. That you can get away with. It seems like it's easier to go from tackle to guard than it is to go from right guard to left guard. Does that make sense? I think it does. And to your point, Nick, too, like putting him straight in at center and having him develop right away, it probably would be better for him. You're right. It probably would be. So there was something that came out about Penei Sewell the other day. I was listening. I don't remember who it was I was listening to. It might have been on XM. No, it was, oh my goodness. Whatever. It was on XM. I can't source it. But here's what they said. They're talking about offensive line, and they were talking about Penei Sewell. And they were saying, quite simply, I mean, the guy is a run blocker, one of the best in the league. But for him to get called the best right tackle in the league and one of, or if not the best tackle in the league, is complete BS. This was their take. Because the fact that his pass blocking is, I mean, it is not good, right? Penei Sewell's pass blocking last year was atrocious. He was getting tossed around in pass blocking. The run blocking was great. Let me pull up his pass blocking grade. So in 2024, no, I'm sorry, do I have these backwards? Pass block was 91.2. Run block was 71.7. Excuse me, I have them backwards. So not great at run block, great at pass block. Let me pull it up. So do you guys agree with that? I mean, is Penei Sewell overhyped? Let's take a look at his stats. Since we're talking about the offensive line. Yeah, I did have it backwards. It was his pass blocking grade. I mean, it's kind of anemic, you know, compared to the best tackles in the league. Let me get this up for you guys. I mean, it kind of, you know, messed with my head there for a minute. You know, the way that they were talking about Penei Sewell not being elite. And I'm like, where is this coming from? And the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, I see what they mean. Purely from a grades perspective, I get it. But man, I don't know if my microphone is in this. It's got to be. All right, here we go. Take a look at the screen. So this is 2024, 87.5 overall, 74.1 pass block grade, 90.5 run block grade. I wouldn't want another blocker out in space than Penei Sewell. I mean, he is by far one of the best blockers that I have seen in this game. And the fact that his pass block is so anemic. I mean, 74 is good, right? But that's good enough for 39th in the league. So if you're 39th in pass block, you know, their case was how can you call this guy number one in the league? Sorry, I'm trying to get my my camera in here. There we go. I'm just stuck behind everything. I'll just put myself over here somewhere. All right, so let's take a look at 2023 for a moment. What did he do in 2023? Well, it's kind of much of the same. I mean, his pass blocking grade was good for 22nd out of 137 tackles. Obviously, a much better season. Run blocking grade was pretty consistent in 93.1. 2022, much of the same. His pass blocking grade is like averaging a 75 at this point out of the last 3 seasons. Now, he had a down year in run blocking, but he was still elite. He was still a top 6 run blocker in 2022. Now, 2021 is a true rookie. 84.5 in run block, 69.4 in pass block. So that's a pretty good litmus test. 4 seasons. He's averaging about a 74 in pass block. Not the greatest for what you consider to be an elite right tackle. I think, this is just my take, just freely thinking here. I think that Tate Ratledge is going to immensely help Penei Sewell out on the right side. So the other thing that they were saying is how can you rate Penei Sewell so high, in all of the rankings when there's other guys in this league that their pass blocking is way higher. Way higher. And yeah, their run blocking may not be as good, but this is a passing league too. You got to remember that. But for the Lions, this works. We are so balanced, it seems like, between run and pass that we need these guys to be able to do both really well. And I think that being out at the tackle position, you're out on an island, and you have to be able to, be the best. And I guess he's also going up against probably the best defensive ends in the league, right? If a lot of teams are putting their best defensive end on the left side of the defense to go up against what is quote unquote the weaker of the two tackles, well, they don't have that option doing that against the Lions. I think the weaker of the tackles is clearly Taylor Decker. So if you're putting your defensive end up against Penei Sewell, and that's a tough day at the office for anybody. And I think he's done a really good job. I do. I think that Penei Sewell, from my opinion, I think he is one of the best. I don't know about number 2, and I don't know about number 1 in the league. I think that he does a lot of things the best, and I think he does a few things average, and I think he does a couple of things poorly. Together, I think the Penei Sewell will go down as being one of the best right tackles in the game. Can't have everything perfect. Let's take a look at 2025 offensive tackle rankings for just a moment. So execs, coaches, scouts rank the top 10 tackles, and I think that this is why it was coming out because of this list. Tristan Wirfs was number 1, and Penei Sewell was number 2. Last year he was number 2, and his lowest ranking ever was number 7. Tristan Wirfs last year was number 4, and his lowest ranking ever was number 7. The difference, Penei Sewell's 24, Tristan Wirfs is 26. Then you've got Lane Johnson at number 3. It's not, yeah, there it is. You got Lane Johnson at number 3. Trent Williams from San Francisco at number 4. Jordan Mailata, I mean, what an incredible story that is. He's number 5. That dude's an absolute animal. 6'8", 365 pounds. Just insane. Number 6 is Rashawn Slater. Number 7 is Laramie Tunsil. Number 8 is Deion Dawkins. And number 9, Christian Darrisaw. Number 10, Andrew Thomas. So let's go back and see what they wrote about Penei Sewell. Starts off with saying that Sewell lost a narrow race with Wirfs for the top spot. Both kept pace with top 5 votes, but Wirfs produced more first place nods. The quote is, "It's splitting hairs, really. Both are great. I give the slight edge to Wirfs for playing the left side." Sewell's physical brand of football has been a winning combo for Detroit on his way to back-to-back first-team All-Pro honors. His 2024 metrics, 91.2 pass block win rate and 71.7 run block win rate, are not stellar. What? Right? So this is where they're talking about the run block win rate. The latter, being the run block, ranks last among the players who garnered at least 1 vote. But you don't have to watch Sewell play for long to know how he impacts the game. Here's the quote. "He's definitely one of the most complete players and most physical at the position. I just feel there are a few others that are more dominant in both phases." Sewell showed discipline in 2024 with 3 penalties, committed in 17 games played. Well, he actually played in 18 games, but that's neither here nor there. Honestly, I don't think anybody showed up in the 18th game. Okay, so Sewell's getting a little shade. This NFL executive is saying there's better. There's better at both phases. My question to you is Sewell number 2 or is he number 3? Would you dare put him at number 5? Yeah, Joseph Murdoch. I just noticed your statement in here. Man, those are the words that came out of my mouth the last 2 days. And even to start tonight's pod is the second rounders, they're getting the bag this year. They're going to get some guarantee. And next year, it's going to be the thirds. Why? Well, the thirds all signed their contracts, and so did the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth, and the seventh rounders. So they kind of missed the opportunity. It almost makes me feel like these agents kind of got together and said, all right, here's how we're going to stage our little coup. We're gonna let everybody else sign besides the second rounders, and then we're gonna put our foot in the dirt, and we're all gonna hold firm. And the two teams that cracked early, are the ones that kind of screwed everything up, which was the Browns and I think Houston. So it's no surprise to me that everyone sees what's about to happen. I think that the NFL is finally going to get guaranteed contracts all the way through. So Tate Ratledge, again, to recap, in case you just joined, from what I understand, tomorrow he will not be in practice either way. And that's because the contract was not signed before 5 p.m. Eastern. That's if I read everything correctly, that he can't participate. Now, he could sign his contract tomorrow, and then he could make his way to practice. I assume that it has to then get sent to the league office. It has to get approved, and then it's good to go. So that's my understanding. Now, as far as contracts go, I don't know the full process, but I do want to take a listen here to Mike Florio and what he had to say about this situation. I just listened to this earlier today. I think it came out yesterday. But let's take a listen here. Let me get it pulled in. So if you guys haven't heard by now, while I'm setting this up, all of the new subscribers to the channel, you're going to get first crack this year at some giveaways. And this is different than years past. So every year I've always included everyone, all of the subscribers, and I still will. There's going to be different opportunities for everybody at different, parts of the season. But right now we want to get our subscribership up. Look, I'm still trying to give away 2 tickets to opening night. And I don't know if it's going to happen. We got to hit 10,000 subscribers. And the goal is to give away 2 tickets, whether it's opening night or another game throughout the season. I want to give away 2 tickets, but we got to hit 10,000 first. We tried to do it on the draft. It didn't happen. I think my marketing skills have been lacking lately. I haven't been getting everything together quick enough. So I want to give away 2 tickets, and as soon as we hit 10K, I'm going to do that. And that one's going to be for everybody. But between now and then, I've got 16 training camp jackets that I want to give away. And I've got mini helmets that I still want to give away that are signed, certificate of authenticity, of course, through Pro Sports Zone. And by the way, big shout out to Pro Sports Zone. If you guys have not been to Pro Sports Zone yet in Livonia, please go visit John Yu at 37700 6 Mile Road, Livonia, Michigan. Pro Sports Zone is the proud sponsor of the Countdown Kickoff Clock for 2025 season. 15 days, 23 hours, 35 minutes, and 11 seconds left until the Hall of Fame game kickoff. Lions and Chargers. I'll be there front row unless I get my credential beforehand. Man, Pro Sports Zone. Get in there. He has everything that you need and more. I promise you, your wife is not going to be happy when you leave the store. So I would leave her in the car and just bring the credit card that she doesn't know about and visit John Yu. I'm just kidding with all that. Just go get your stuff at John Yu's place, man. Support your local people. He deserves it. He's done a great job. All right, let's get into Mike Florio. Let's hear what he had to say. As soon as I can bring in the audio. One quick sec. All right, here we go.
factor for Judkins, and this does into the second topic of the day. You got 30 second-round picks that are currently unsigned. And this all flows from the issue of how much of these contracts for the second-round picks will be fully
Pretty
guaranteed.
sure that's his.
As of last year,
internet,
only
not
the
mine.
first-round pick.
Let's try it again.
Now, the complicating factor for Judkins, and this does into the second topic of the day. You got 30 second-round picks that are currently unsigned. And this all flows from the issue of how much of these contracts for the second-round picks will be fully guaranteed. As of last year, only the first-round picks got fully guaranteed contracts. And remember that whenever someone says, oh, NFL players should have fully guaranteed contracts. Every first-round pick every year gets a 4-year fully guaranteed contract. This year, the Texans stepped out of line. The Texans gave Jaden Higgins, the second pick in round 2, a fully guaranteed contract. That blew up the trend. That extended the full guarantees into round 2. To the extent there's collusion, the Texans didn't get the memo. Now, when the second pick in round 2 got his fully guaranteed deal, that forced the Browns, with the first pick in round 2, linebacker Carson Schwessinger, he got a fully guaranteed deal as well. So picks 3 through 32 in round 2, no deals yet. And it's not that they all want fully guaranteed contracts. We have an item that we posted over the weekend that lists the percentage that was fully guaranteed for last year's slots in round 2. And it gets down to, if I recall correctly, 52%. So there's a drop-off that goes player by player. The problem is, now that the first 2 have pushed the ceiling to 100, where do the rest land? How far down round 2 does the 100% full guarantee go? Enter Quinshon Judkins. There's a thought now in league circles.
So if you guys are following this and understanding what he's saying, and I tried to go through this too with the collective bargaining agreement, it's massive undertaking to read that, and it makes my head hurt, but it's a fun read at the same time. What he's saying is, there's a percentage drop off between pick 33 and, the final pick in the second round, pick 64, 65, whatever it is, that there's a guaranteed drop off, that it went from 100% at the end of first round down to 52% was his guess by the last pick in the second round. And now that the top 2 guys in the round 2 got fully guaranteed contracts, that raised the bar, right? That raised the floor for everybody else, and that's why nobody else has signed yet. And to his point, he said it's not that everybody wants a guaranteed deal. It's just how much is going to be guaranteed. Or, what I'm thinking here, how many do want a guaranteed deal? So Tate is at pick 57. So he's like, 7-8 picks from the last pick in the second round. The Lions could do something here and set a precedent. And they could guarantee a portion, of his deal, and that would probably get the ball rolling for everybody. But the question is probably how much. Let's listen to what else he had to say.
That he'll do a deal that guarantees less than 100%, and that will be the ceiling, and then they'll just fall in like dominoes. Remember, you line up dominoes back in the days when we had nothing to do, no video games, 3 TV channels. You'd line up dominoes and flick the first one. In theory, once Judkins does his deal, the rest of the players in round 2 will follow suit with a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less in full guarantees. And the agents, who I think would just like to get these deals done, they can blame Judkins. Judkins got arrested. He did a deal for X percent fully guaranteed, whatever the number is, 95, 94, 90, whatever. And that screwed it up for the rest of us. And everybody had to follow suit, boom, 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 thereafter. And that probably...
Okay, so this makes a lot of sense. Where he's saying, Quinshon Judkins is going to be kind of the fall guy here, potentially. Would the NFL turn a blind eye and say, maybe we won't punish you as much as we thought if you can get the ball rolling and get these guys signed? You'll save us a bunch of money. So, yeah, just go ahead and sign. We'll give you 80% guarantee or whatever. So that's what he's saying here is if he signs, because now he got his butt in trouble and he just wants to get his money and get his deal, that would screw everything up for the rest of the guys if he didn't get a fully guaranteed deal. The collusion thing is a mess, man. Like, I'm wondering how deep it goes, because like I said, I see reverse collusion happening with this, where all of these second rounders have held out together. They're in lockstep with each other right now, that they're trying to push the envelope and kind of bar the arm of the NFL. And they got them in a double helix right now, trying to make sure that they get paid. And yeah. And Brent Lighton, yeah. Mike Florio, yeah, I guess you could say he sucks. But you know what? The one thing I like about Mike is he's a former lawyer. And he's extremely intelligent when it comes to law and all of those things. And I just, that's where I go. I love law. So when I want my law stuff, I listen to Mike. Let's keep listening here.
Makes Nick Emanwari the third pick in round 2. That makes his the hot spot, because he could still try to get 100% from the Seahawks. Because if Judkins does less than 100, Jaden Higgins at number 2 is at.
Okay, maybe I wasn't clear. So Brett and Nick, yes, Judkins got arrested. And that's why Mike was saying, okay, so he just got arrested and he's in trouble. He can still sign his deal. He's still under the scrutiny of the NFL policies, whether he signed a deal or not. But that's why I'm saying the NFL may turn a blind eye a little bit here. And if he can sign and sign at a good rate, that's the collusion that I think that he was referring to. Well, or the other collusion that was just, came to light last week with the NFLPA and the NFL trying to bury some guarantees in the contracts, that now he's the fall guy. Judkins is the fall guy for all of this to kind of get the ball rolling. I don't think that Judkins is out of the NFL. I think that he's probably going to get a big slap on the wrist and he'll be fine. But that all depends on how bad it is. If there's video, we know how that worked out for Ray Rice. Either way, I don't support or condone violence by any means.
At 100, where does the third pick in round 2 fall? He could try to get 100. He could take maybe something between Higgins and Judkins. We'll see. But that's what that's all about. And as I argued over the weekend, and this was an idea that someone raised with me that actually makes a lot of sense. As we arrive at training camp, the players who don't have contracts are holding out. Even though they're not under contract, they're holding out for more. There was and this has come up from time to time. Are you really a holdout if you're not under contract? Well, you're holding out for more. You're not at practice. You're not working. You're trying to get more. You don't have a contract, so you don't have any financial penalties, but you are not there and you want more. So we have 30 of these guys who are holding out now. The point that was made over the weekend, and this is a good one, why didn't you take a stand earlier? Why didn't you band together all second-round picks and not show up for mandatory minicamp, not show up for the offseason program? All of these guys signed the participation agreement that caused them to show up and work for free. They get a per diem, but they're working for free. They're working without contracts. They're acting like employees even though they aren't. They did it for all of the offseason program, and now they're going to take a stand? I mean, the thinking is this will go fairly quickly. And once one guy takes less than 100% fully guaranteed on his second-round deal, the rest will fall in line. And Judkins becomes the obvious guy to do it because he just got arrested.
Okay, I'm going to pause it here because what he just said is enlightening. Okay, now I mentioned the the parent-teacher slip, the bus slip that you can ride the bus to go on your bus trip. Remember how you had to get those signed in elementary school? You had to bring home a slip to have your parents sign. Well, that's what all these guys signed to hang out in the off-season program and do the mini camps and the rookie OTAs. And like he said, that they didn't get paid, but they got a per diem. But I don't know how many of you guys are making $1,700 a day or even $1,500 a day. But if I read the NFLPA's collective bargaining agreement correctly, that's how much these guys are getting. That's a ton of money. Like, that's not playing for free. However, what I would say is that categorically, in my opinion, is wrong. if you have just been drafted to the NFL, you better be protected. You better have health insurance. You better have everything in line before you show up for day one. Just like when you're going to show up to your first day on the job, you don't show up to the first day and find out how much you're going to get paid. You don't show up to the first day and figure out what your uniform is. No, all that stuff should be handled. You don't show up the first day not knowing if you're getting health insurance or not. Right? You get all that stuff worked out before you go to work. That's the same thing with this. You would think that all this stuff is figured out by now and handled by now. So if what he's saying is 100% accurate, I think that's a little bit grimy if they're not taken care of, when they show up for their first day in OTAs and rookie mini camps. But I'm going to research that a little bit more before I make a hardline opinion on it.
That's the thinking as to how this is going to unfold. So we'll see. But what should have happened, and look, this is partially the NFL Players Association's fault. We'll be talking about more about them coming up. But, the NFLPA didn't try, as far as we know, to get all the agents for the unsigned second-round picks on the same page and come up with a joint approach. And collusion is permitted. It's not a double standard. Well, I guess it is, but it's acknowledged. It's okay. The players are allowed to collude. The teams aren't. And one of the problems is getting all the agents to work together in an inherently competitive environment. That's the irony here, if that's even the right word. And I never do know. Owners are supposed to be hotly competitive, but they find a way to lock arms on certain issues that help all of them. Agents have the right to lock arms and work together and get their players better deals by cooperating, coordinating, and colluding, and they don't. This is a prime example where they could get all the agents together, come up with a percentage that you want. How far does 100 go? Who gets 99? You have a full 30-man proposal that gets sent to the teams. And the message would be, this is what they get, and none of them is going to show up until they all get it. Let us know when you're ready to do the deal. The problem is the agents don't want to work together, even though they're allowed to. And the more fundamental problem is you're basically asking 30 players to go on strike. And we know from history that football players don't want to strike. They want to play football. That's the fundamental problem. That's the imbalance between the league and the union. The league will shut the sport down for a year. The Players Association will not. And this is a microcosm of that. 30 players will not band together and stay out of camp to help each other. Period. And before we even get to that, the agents won't try to do it. And before we even get to that, I don't think the NFLPA has even tried to do it, although they should be. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis.
I love how Mike uses an image of himself in that thank you video that's at least 10 years, older. That video. Man, when I look at myself after doing all this podcasting, it's like I've literally watched myself age on screen. That's not fun. Not having a thyroid ages you a lot faster. I'll tell you what. A lot faster than you really want to age. All right, so what did we learn? Here's what we learned. That these rookies and everybody else in the NFL makes really good money. That's what we learned. $1,700 a day per diem. I remember working on a job one day, or 1 week. I don't even remember what company I was with. But I was doing, like road shows for sales. I was doing big shows at, Deltaplex or Amway, and in our per diem, because it was a federal job, was like $45 a day or something stupid like that. And like 56 cents a mile or 54 cents a mile we made more money on driving than we did per day, for per diem. Like it might have cost you $30 to fill up your truck, your work truck, but they were paying you like $150 a day or so. It was crazy. But $1,700 a day per diem, man, is nutty. That's good money, but it's good money. Like if you're not beating the crap out of yourself every day, right? And that's what these guys are doing. So that's what I learned. I learned they're making a ton of money. I also learned that these guys, the players and the players, so the agents, that they can band together and kind of collude a little bit. Well, the NFL can't. So it's not very fair to the NFL, right? I mean, the NFL just got, some big trouble with this whole collusion of contracts. But now the players have turned it around on them, at least the second rounders this year, and said, no, we want more. And to Mike's point in this video, why didn't they do it earlier? Why didn't they just not show up and start this earlier? They probably should have. Because now it's turning into a situation where teams are going to be missing, some of their players. Trey Harris has already been holding out now for a few days. Well, since the 12th. Looks like Kimber's in the house. What's happening, Kimber? So, Mike, I don't know if you can verify this too, anything you've heard, but from what I understood today, Rutledge cannot be in camp tomorrow because the deal was not done and signed before 5 p.m. Eastern. So he can get done tomorrow, and he could be on his way to camp tomorrow. But that contract has to get to the league office for approval before anything else can be done. So it sounds like we got in a holdout no matter what. I mean, I don't see where Rutledge is just going to show up without being under contract. I mean, technically he can't anyway. That is a hardline rule in it's like I said in the video the other day, they can't show up and participate. The other thing that we pulled out of this video, which I talked about the other day too, is that participation agreement that they do sign, that allows them to do everything preseason or I'm sorry, off season. Preseason's different. So preseason training camp, you must be under contract. He can't just show up and be like, "What's up, guys? I'm here to do some work." Nope. There's the door. Sorry. It's just the way it works. So it kind of sucks. Okay. Anyway, let's see what else we got going on in NFL news, Lions news. I really haven't been online a whole lot today. Just trying to get everything else done. Got these 12 employees working hard at trying to get stuff done for me, and it's a lot of training going on. A lot of training. Takes a lot of time away. Quick question. Who got tickets today? Raise your hand if you guys got tickets. Did you get training camp tickets? I have some extras. Like I said, we're going to give them out, but I'd like to know who got tickets today. Let me know what date you guys are going. I should be there just about every date. Or I might do 3 or 4 in a row and just kind of stay on the east side for a little bit. Here we go. We were talking about offensive linemen earlier. And so someone did write something about Penei Sewell and the fact that he's apparently overrated. Which I get it. His run blocking is not, the greatest score, but I don't think that our offensive line has had that big of an issue running the football. I really don't. So who was it? Who said it? Swartz. Which Swartz? Mitchell Swartz? He's a former offensive tackle. Let me just read this article here. Vito Churko. I still think, I've never met Vito Churko. I still think that that's a ghostwriter name, but I don't know. I have no clue who he is. It says the Lions starting right tackle, who was recently ranked the number 2 offensive tackle in the NFL by league executives, coaches, and scouts. Despite the strong play from Sewell through his first 4 NFL seasons, there's one pundit who believes he's been overhyped, and that is former offensive tackle Mitchell Swartz. Now, since retiring, Swartz he's been a first-team All-Pro in 2018 and Super Bowl champ with the Chiefs, has become a popular follow on social media, Recently, he took to X to express he doesn't believe Sewell is presently the league's second best offensive tackle. Let's take a look at this dude's. Let's take a look at this dude's Twitter. All right. Make it nice and big. All right, he says, whoever is running Sewell's PR firm needs a raise. I don't care how good of a run blocker you are, being an average or above average pass blocker means you aren't the best at your side or the second best overall tackle. Everyone is going to think I hate Sewell. I don't. He's still the second best right tackle for me. He's just not good enough to be getting the accolades and praise that he currently is. So here's what I'm going to do. One, I'm going to follow this dude. And two, I'm going to dump this in the chat for you guys. Go ahead and go talk some shit to him. There you go. And then we're going to requote it. Well, what do you guys want me to say? Someone in the chat tell me what you want me to say on Twitter today. That's going to be a new segment. How about that? We come up with new stuff every day, and that one's kind of funny. You guys tell me what you want me to write. I'll write it. Come on, best sentence wins. Okay, Detroit versus everybody. I'm saying, what do you want me to say against Mr. Schwartz here? What's that one movie? Something, was it Spaceballs where they kept saying something about the Schwartz? Wasn't it Spaceballs? Oh my God, you just said the same thing too. Brandy, like our minds are, they're giffing today. Let's see, do we got a Spaceballs reference? There we go. I'm surrounded by assholes. There we go. We're just going to leave him a sad face. There it is. Sorry, I didn't take your sentence. I just went ahead and went with that one instead. All right, here we go. So new segment is, what do you want me to post on Twitter? We'll just do that on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble. You guys are going to get me in trouble. I'm getting myself in trouble. All right, what else has happened? How many people we got in? I haven't even checked the stats yet. We got 60, 70 people in here tonight. That's all right. It's pretty good for a Tuesday night. And by the way, we'll be back on regular nights, Tuesdays and Thursday nights now that the season is going to be cracking. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the morning show. Tuesdays and Thursday nights. I'm not sure on the time yet. I try not to overlap with the other guys like crunch time, and that 8 o'clock used to be my time slot, but I try to have some respect for people so they can have, you know, all the people in and we kind of take our own time slots, but we'll just see what happens. Because as more people come in, like nobody cares. Nobody cares who's on at what time. Anything else pressing today that we need to get to? Tonight was really just about the offensive line and the fact that the Detroit Lions are kind of up against it. I do think the Tate Rowledge is a big key to this offense this year. I really do. I mean, immediate starter, but I think he's going to be a big key to this offensive line staying together and not taking a step back. We cannot take a step back with this offensive line this year. Let's see. I didn't see a bunch of hands up in there. Did you guys get training camp tickets? Looks like Brandy Coffee started a new countdown clock. And by the way, the countdown clock in your lower right corner, brought to you by Pro Sports Zone. It's the kickoff countdown clock, Lions and Chargers Hall of Fame game. They'll be sponsoring that all season long. Every week, we'll have a new clock up for each game. Robbie1 says, what Sewell lacks in run blocking, He more than makes up for pass blocking as he shuts down both power and finesse pass rushers. That's a good take, man. Good take. Good take. Manu's going to be a surprise starter. You know, so I was flirting with Manu taking over at left guard. And the fact that he spent the offseason with Taylor Decker out at, you know, practicing, getting ready. We don't know what position. Could have been, I mean, obviously he's learning left tackle. You know, that's his position. But is he learning, you know, to take any position? I mean, imagine having Manu in there. There's no comparison. There's zero comparison between Manu and every other guy on this line. Matter of fact, we never got Manu on the pod. I'm a little disappointed with that. Giovanni Manu is 6'7", 352 pounds. 6'7", 352 pounds. Now, I did learn something. I mean, obviously what the Lions do is a little bit different. But Tate Ratledge, 6'6", 315. So a full inch, right? And a full 45 pounds-ish over Tate Ratledge, which is huge. And there's no comparison. I mean, Giovanni Manu reminds me of like a Jordan Mailata, right? That kind of size. But there's something that I learned, you know, about NFL teams today. When you see them kind of gearing up to take either big offensive linemen or, you know, some of the smaller offensive linemen, it kind of tells you what they're going to do in the run game, right? Number one, it kind of tells you what style of a run game they're going to run. The Lions have been going after guys that are more agile. So as big as Giovanni Manu is, pretty agile. Tate Ratledge, pretty agile, right? Penei Sewell, really agile. Taylor Decker, not so much. Frank Ragnow, one of the most agile centers I've seen. So I think it speaks volumes to when you see what type of player that they're bringing in, the style of run game that they're going to run, and that is why the Lions run this zone blocking scheme so well. I mean, they run it, I think, one of the best in the league because they got the right personnel. They're not just grabbing guys and then throwing them in, sink or swim, and say, hey, you know, learn this new zone blocking scheme or outside zone, you know, scheme. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. They're not going to force these guys to do something that doesn't work. So outside of that, there's really nothing else happening, which means we're coming up to 9 o'clock, and I'm going to end it because we'll be back on at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm hoping that we get some good news in the morning. We'll be watching as we're on if it's going to happen. Last thing that I'll mention tonight is I'm still thinking I'm going to have one video pop up today. And we're talking about a potential trade. Can it happen? And what could potentially happen with another player that isn't signed? And well, you just have to see when it comes out. But anyway, we'll see you guys in the morning, 8 a.m. right here on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Before I leave, though, I have to test something. So I'm trying to test this new system that I got on the back end. And that should be making me live on the other YouTube channel. So I'm going to just go through a couple of tests here at the end. Feel free to hang out. I'll just cut it all out when I can, but if anyone's on the other channel or can see it, let me know if you got a notification. Yeah, I don't see it live. It says that I'm live. I don't see it live. And now I should be live on Twitter and Facebook. Well, Facebook's not taken. Well, that's interesting. If it doesn't work, that's going to be really disappointing. Means I got to pay for another service. Are we live on Twitter? We're just testing tonight. See if we are. I don't see us live on Twitter either. All right. Well, that failed. We'll see you guys back here in the morning. Take care. Go on Pride. Go Detroit Lions. You guys are the best.
The podcast.
Shout out to Rockhound Detroit Lions, man.
There
One
you go.
pride.